Dear racing fans, we've been waiting for you. We've been working, prepping, training, putting together thrilling races, high stakes, favorite traditions, and fresh experiences. From right on the rail to the top of the hill. Whether it's your first meet or your 50th, we can't wait to welcome you back this fall. Love, Keeneland.
And welcome in, everyone, to the Keeneland Look Ahead podcast. Jeremy Plonk here from Horse Player Now, getting set for day 6 of 17 at Keeneland. We've got a little extra sauce for you on a Friday. Not only is it Sycamore Stakes Day, and not only do we have another carryover in the Toyota Super High 5, about $10,000 in that one, but a $103,000 carryover in the $1 pick 6. The final 6 races on the program, races 5 through 10. A lot of added intrigue now on this Friday card that was already looking pretty good. Now we've got a $103,000 carryover to talk about. We'll get into that during the course of this program for sure. Nobody hit the pick 6 for the second straight day, and a little bit of price action late in the day. Of course, that's what you need in order to get these pick 6 carryovers. Talk about what happened on the track today on Thursday before we look ahead to the Friday card. 3 wins on the program today for jockey Jose Ortiz, his best day of the meet. John Velasquez, the ageist one who had such a good opening week at Keeneland. He was back in the winner's circle today. He teamed up with Todd Pletcher, who's off to a great start at the meet. Pletcher added another win to his ledger here on the card today. And they did it with a horse, BU, who was off since June of 2024, off the year comeback. Really impressive effort there, coming off the long layup there. Trainer Lindsey Schultz won 2 races at Keeneland, training double there. Nice for those connections out of Illinois. And then Kenny McPeak and Cherie DeVoe each got their first wins of the meet. They got off the duck, as we say, around the press boxes in America. So McPeak, DeVoe, we expect them to have good meets at Keeneland, spring or fall. They've been in a little bit of a struggle the first 4 or 5 days of the meet, but got it going today in day 5. They both got their first wins of the meet. So McPeak and DeVoe maybe have turned things around. Track played very slow today. Times were crawling in some races. First race on the card, a 6-furlong maiden claimer, or non-winner, a 2 claimer, I believe it was. Might have been a maiden claimer. Either way, 114.98. It was almost 115. We'd never seen a 114 race at Keeneland since going back to dirt in 2014, much less one that was pushing 115. So there was only one wire-to-wire winner on the card, and that was Motown Dynamic. Motown Dynamic, the 8th win of the year for that runner coming out of Prairie Meadows in Iowa. Kelly Martinez got another victory. Again, race number 3, the only wire-to-wire winner on the card was that horse who was winning for the 8th time this year. So track did not play quick. It did tighten up on Wednesday, and we saw, I believe 4 wire-to-wire winners on Wednesday. Drier conditions on Thursday, same thing, and the times were just really slow, and horses from off the pace had every chance in these races. Speed isn't getting carried like we've seen traditionally during some Keeneland meets, so let's keep that in your handicapping basket as we move ahead to Friday. Finally got one of our key plays on the card in at a nice price. It was good to hit that $21 winner. We only had 2 key plays on the card after scratches today. Race number 4, Caviar Breakfast, $21.36, the Ken McPeak trainee. Good to get that key play in there. We had a lot of bingo around it. I know some folks posted things on X that they hit the exactest price around that. Hopefully we were able to help you out with that one. Really nice payoff. Then the 10th race on the card, our other key player in the day, ran 3rd. The winner was a nice price in there. Musical Prayer was the horse who ran 3rd for us, but Baytown Butterfly, yet another offspring of Omaha Beach, running very well here on the main track at Keeneland. About a 25, 26, 28 kind of percent winner with these offspring of Omaha Beach over this main track at Keeneland. Tremendous, a positive ROI, and another price for that one, a Baytown Butterfly for Paul McEntee in the nightcap. That was a horse we had picked 3rd behind one of our key plays. Again, I really wish that we could have got the horse up for 2nd in their Musical Prayer, who rallied for 3rd. A little exacta underneath Baytown Butterfly would have been a nice way to finish it. So I didn't get anything out of the nightcap. Hopefully you did, though, but we had a handicap pretty squared up. The 2 big plays on the card that we had to have, we got one of them, and that's good momentum into this Friday card. So let's get handicapping, shall we, and talk about this Friday program. Again, a reminder, carryovers, pick 6, 103,126 to carry over there. And as the Super High 5 will wrap things up in the 10th and final race on the card, $10,548. Here's a snapshot of the card and how the races will line up on a 10-race program at Keeneland. No overlaps in the multi-race wagers when you talk pick fives and pick fours. Early pick five will be races 1 through 5. Early pick four, the 2nd through 5th. We got our first key play in race number 3. You see them in orange on the screen. Races 3, 6, and 8 are the key plays on the program for me. We start the pick 6 with that big carryover in race number 5. Again, 103,000 begins in race number 5. Late pick 5 will get underway in the 6th. The late pick 4 in the 7th. Feature on the program is the Sycamore Stakes. Turf marathoners in this one. Sycamore going 1.5 miles on the grass. Graded stakes company there. And in the 10th and final race on the card, the Toyota Super High 5 race will be offered $10,548 on the carryover. One thing noticeably absent from that snapshot, no turf pick 3. In fact, there's not 3 turf races on the card, which is really rare for Friday at Keeneland. Only 2 turf races scheduled on the program, including the Sycamore. So when we only have 2 turf races scheduled originally, there is no Keeneland turf pick 3. That'll be back into the mix on Saturday. So let's get the handicapping. Let's go to race number 1 on the card and send you to the Keeneland Handicapper Selectors box, Keeneland.com. You can get all the picks from Scott Hazelton, Tom Leach, myself, and Kim Nelson across the way, left to right as you're reading here on the graphic. We'll compare our picks throughout the course of the card, try to identify where some underlay and overlay prices might be identified by how the public handicappers go. We're splitting things up 2 and 2 in this race. The 5 Sharp Note, the 1 Busk are the top choices for 2 of us each in this spot. And I'm on the 1 in here, Busk. Irad Ortiz riding here. This horse has had 10 straight consistent races. You look up and down the line, top 2, top 3 type finishes with a lot of W's. You got to like the win record for Busk. Coming out of a race at Churchill Downs last time out, this is a good spot to be in. I'm going to take Busk in this particular spot by Candy Ride. That'll be the top choice here in race number 1. Sharp Note, top choice in here for, or Shape Note, I should say, not Sharp Note. Shape Note fits the conditions well of this starter allowance for trainer Mike Maker, Tyler Gaffleone aboard. Again, the Churchill horses really do well in these fall meet starter allowances. 43 of them held over the years in fall meets. 20 of the winners in the 43 races have prepped at Churchill Downs. You can get a little bit of a price. You don't have to settle on a low favorite in here. Favorites win 12 out of 43. And the average winner, 5.5 to 1. So a little bit higher than par in terms of average price of winners, and horses who aren't favorite, have dominated, winning almost 3 out of 4. So favorites only about 25% in these particular spots, well below the national average of 38%. I've got it 156. You can also consider the 2 in there. Ludwig, another one who fits the conditions nicely for trainer Norm Cassie. Busk going to be my top pick in here. Let's go to the second race on the program. And second race, we'll kick off the early pick 4. Early pick 4 here is the opener. It's a non-winners of 2 lifetime claimer, $40,000 level. You know, I like to look for horses who have maybe the best career victory in a non-winners of 2 lifetime. All the horses have 1 career victory. Who's got the best record on their resume sometimes can be a good handicapping help. Let's go to that second race selectors box and see who we take across the way. Kim and I are in agreement. Busk and Cinnamon Sugar, the first 2, and we both have Cinnamon Sugar on top in this one. Clamborn, the Clamborson is the Chamberson is the 8 in here for Scott Hazelton on top, and the 9 Satisfied Mind, top choice in here for Tom. Cinnamon Sugar, the 1, comes off a race at Churchill Downs. And again, these Churchill horses are fitting into a lot of spots where historically they do well with the races on the card here. They've won 40 of the 112 non-winners of 2 claimers that have been offered here over the years coming into this racing week. Second best is Ellis with 12, Horseshoe Indianapolis with 10. So Churchill Downs horses really dominate these kind of races. You've got the 1 Cinnamon Sugar, the 4 Magic Seeker, the 2 in this race coming out of races at Churchill Downs. That's the way I'm going to lean in this particular spot. Cinnamon Sugar ridden by Jose Ortiz, who won 3 today. Made these picks before today's racing. So glad to see Jose riding well, obviously. 9-2 there on the John Hancock trainee. Hancock doesn't win a ton of races at Keeneland. He gets a reputation for winning some 2-year-old races in the spring every once in a while. I wouldn't want to take too short of a price in here. I think this is a race where you can get some little bit of depth. Ashkenazi, the 5, is certainly playable in here. Eddie Keneally does really well with his non-winners of 2 lifetime claimers. He's got 5 such wins in these kind of races over the course of past fall meets. Ashkenazi comes in from Presque Isle, Horseshoe Indy. but looks competitive because the horse was able to break its maiden at Churchill back in the spring. Ran here in the baby races over the back in April, and this Hootenanny filly was able to make the lead. Now she comes back here in the fall. I don't know if she can get the distance. That's the question for me. She might be a little bit short of lasting at 6 furlongs, but Ashkenazi certainly one to consider in here. 1, 5, 9, and 4 are all horses I thought had a shot. You got the 8 in here, Chambourson for John Ennis, who's picked on top by Scott. So I think there's a little bit of depth to be gotten in this particular race, to be honest with you. And again, this is a spot where, you don't have to settle, just on 1 or 2 particular horses. I think you could spread a little bit here in race number 2. We've got a play of the day coming up in race number 3, and that's what gives us a little bit of liberty to spread our wings a bit in that second race, because in race number 3, I really like the 8 in here, Beautiful Mackenzie. This is the first-time starter for trainer Eddie Keneally, for Eddie Keneally. 2-year-old filly, first-time starter, going 6.5 furlongs here. Eddie Keneally's run 14 2-year-old first-time starters in the fall meets here since going back to dirt. 3 wins, 3 seconds, and a third, a 229 ROI for every dollar bet. So Eddie Keneally's been exceptional with 2-year-old first-time starters here. In his last 6 that he's run at Keeneland in the fall meets, 2 wins, 2 seconds. So I'm going to bank on him having this one ready to go. The workouts indicate so. That gate work on September 24th for Beautiful Mackenzie, a half mile on 47.4 from the gate. It's that second work before a horse races, not the most recent work, the second work back that usually tips off how strong a horse is. Second to last work is the one where they're really asking for it. In the final work, it's usually just a little maintenance move a week before the race. So I think Beautiful Mackenzie's going to run a cracker here first time out. My top choice in here. No one else has the 8 picked on top, and only Tom's got to pick third. So we've got a horse who's 5-1 in the morning line. Maybe not super live on the tote. We'll see what the computer guys do with this first-time starter. We'll see what the public does, and if any word trickles out about a work tab and that sort of thing like that. But the 8 Beautiful Mackenzie, definitely for me, going to be one of my key plays. Number 6, Amazing Amanda. Respect there. Anything by Vacoma on the track, you've got to respect. The one question I have is this horse gave it up going 5.5 at Ellis. Now has to extend to 6.5. So I'm not sure about the distance right now in this point in time for Amazing Amanda. That would be the main concern. But again, you get Ortiz riding. He won 3. Jose, that is. He won 3 on the card today. So Amazing Amanda certainly in good hands, but I wouldn't want to take a short price on that one, trying to stretch out after just giving up the lead last time out. I will say this, though, that the 5.5 gap back from second to third might be more about the winner just kind of being stronger there than necessarily giving everything up on the back end. So Amazing Amanda has to be respected in here. The 6, the logical horse amongst those who have run before. The 10, Turkish Pistachio. A little bit of love for that one, but it was offered for a claiming tag in the debut at Belmont at Aqueduct. For trainer Carlos David, a Florida-based trainer, one that he brought north to run at Monmouth. They didn't go to Monmouth. They went for more money up at Aqueduct to run there. They're going for a money spot here again before they probably ship back to Florida. But I would think that you can get 8-6 in here and feel really good about it. I wouldn't go any deeper in that in this particular spot. And if you want to single Beautiful Mackenzie, you're not going to get any argument from me. Certainly, you can't tell in terms of betting a multi-race wager, pick 3 or pick 4, pick 5 on how this horse looks pre-race. But if you get a look at Beautiful Mackenzie and you like the way she's looking in the paddock and how she's warming up, I'd be all in on this one. Race number 3, one of my key plays of the day. Hopefully we can get off to a good start with that one. Let's move now to the 4th race on the program. 4th race at Keeneland is a dual condition claimer. 7-furlong sprint race here on the main track. It's for horses that have not won 3 races lifetime, or 3-year-olds can enter no matter how many races they've won. We kind of get these same situations. You very rarely run into 3-year-olds in these races that have won 4 or 5 races that can actually take advantage of the conditions. So you've got 3-year-olds taking on older horses, and they're all non-winners of 3 in this particular spot. So nobody's kind of taking advantage of the class edge that could be gleaned in a race like this. 7-furlong sprint races at Keeneland. You always want to kind of glance through and see where Luis Saez might be. He rides these races so well. Saez not named on any in this particular spot. I went with number 6, Big Salt Lick. In race number 4, Scott's top pick as well in here. We're the 2 that've got this one on top, coming off the race at Churchill, a winner last time out. This horse is the only horse in the race who's placed at Keeneland in a previous start. Some of the horses in here haven't run too well over the track. He does have a 3rd place finish here, that being back in April during the spring meet for a maiden claiming 20. Has since broken the maiden at Ellis Park and won again at Churchill Downs last time out. Good effort in the last couple, pretty consistent. If you're a speed figure person, don't expect a big leap forward out of this horse. Part of the same form cycle that he's been a part of for Hugo Andrade, the trainer. So he's not looking to make any big leap forward. Can he run another like mid to upper 60s Beyer speed figure? And where does that match up with the others in the race? It looks pretty competitive. They're all very evenly matched in this particular spot. I've got the 6 in here, Big Salt Lick at 4-1. He likes to win races lately, winning 2 of the last 3. And again, has a decent race over the track. And when all things are pretty equal in a handicapping chore at Keeneland, affinity for the track or pedigree for the track are often the big tiebreaker that I go with. So I'll take the 6 on top in here. Number 3, Noble Gentleman, also comes off a win at Churchill, makes the natural step up in class from non-winners of 2 to non-winners of 3. The tough bullet you got to bite with that one was it was a 28th career start to finally get the second win. Well, this one wheel right back and win again. Looks competitive against this group, and at 10-1, you're getting at a price to find out. I think this is a race where you got to kind of spread your wings a little bit in this spot. I've got it 6, 3, and 2. I wouldn't hammer down too heavily on any particular combination in here, and especially look at like a horse like 2 Truly Legit, 5-2 in the morning line, coming out a mile and 16th races, trying to cut back. We've had 16 of these races for the dual condition claimers going 7/8 of a mile in the past. Favorites have won 8 of 16. Churchill preppers have won 8 of 16. So those are 2 good trends. 13 of the winners were 4-1 or less. So big bombs, not necessarily the way to look in these races. 8 of the winners in 13 races added some distance. We've had 5 of the winners in the 16 races. 8 of the 16 added some distance off their last prep. 5 stayed the same. So only 3 were cutting back in distance to win at this class level and trip. Number 2, Truly Legit, is the morning line favorite in here, trying to cut back in distance. The 9 also tries to cut back in distance. The 7 and the 8 cut back in distance. So give me a horse like Big Salt Lick, who's actually adding a little bit of distance, coming from Churchill. You got a lot of the right things lining up there. So I take the 6 in here, but it's not with any kind of heavy confidence or optimism in this particular spot. We'll see how it shakes out in race number 4. We get going in the 5th race here as we check back in halfway through this card. Race number 5 is going to start the pick 6. Again, $103,000 carryover in the pick 6. $1 minimum wager. Those jackpot provisions here at Keeneland. You don't need to be a single ticket holder. When I say a jackpot provision, there are jackpot wagers where they only pay out the whole amount if only one ticket has the main combination. That's not the way it's played at Keeneland. If you hit the pick 6, you're going to take it down and share the pool with everybody else who has it. And if you're the only person who has it, you're going to take down the whole pool. With $103,000 carryover, probably a factor of 3, maybe 4 bet into this. I would assume that we're going to get $400,000 in new money. Maybe $250 to $350 is probably more realistic, but that new money will go into the pool. The money who's already in the pool at $103,000 in the carryover is what we like to call dead money in gambling. It can't beat you. So even if you're not normally a pick 6 player, this is the time to do it if you are going to play a pick 6 when there's a large carryover like this, because again, if you hit it, all that money gets added to the winning tickets, and it's not money in combinations that can beat you. So it's extra money. All it means is you're going to get paid more when you're right. And the number one goal in this game is to get paid when you're right. That's what you've got to do. That's got to be your goal. And what that means is you've got to get a fair price for what you wager on. And when you really like a horse, you've got to weight it properly with the right amount of money, bigger than you would in a race where you don't have a strong opinion. If you're normally a $5 bettor, but you love a horse in a race, you got to be a $10 bettor in that race and skip another and save your $5 there. That's what I mean when I say get paid when you're right. That's one way of doing it, weighting your wagers properly. The second way to do it is when you get an advantage like a carryover to go in and attack, because no matter who hits this pick 6, it's going to pay more than it would on any other day with the amount of money in the pool, because that dead money, that carryover money is going to be added to it. So anytime you see a carryover, that should perk your ears up as a horse player, that now I've got a little bit of a player's advantage. It's not just the takeout that's battling against me and the other tickets that's battling against me. I get something with a little wind at my back with a carryover that's going to help the payoff. So let's go to race number 5 and get handicapping on this pick 6 sequence. Hopefully we can help you take it down. Pick 6 will be on races 5 through 10. $103,000 carryover, as we said. Let's go to the 5th race and check out the picks across the way. Number 5, Hurricane Debbie. Number 10, Promises to Dance. And number 7, Antique Silver. All get top picks in here from one of the handicappers. Both Tom and I are going with number 10, Promises to Dance in this spot. That's a third choice for both Scott and for Kim. Promises to Dance for trainer David Jacobson. He had a winner on the card earlier today that ran a hole in the wind. Sometimes these Jacobson horses show up at Keeneland and just run a magnificent race. We saw one today that was fresh off the claim, a horse that was claimed off of Brad Cox. This is a horse who's made a couple starts now since coming to Jacobs Barn from the Texas, Oklahoma-based stable of Austin Gustafson. 2 starts in Kentucky. Each one improved a little bit off the previous. Promises to Dance, top choice in here, 3-1. Tyler Gaffleone riding for Jacobson in this particular spot. I'll take the 10 on top in here, but I don't think this is a dead set single because Jacobson also has the 7 in here. Antique Silver coming off a good race at Churchill Downs, showing speed for 40,000, now dropping for 16. And you say, well, my goodness, why would you bet a horse dropping from 40,000 to 16? There must be a big problem here. It's a fire sale. They're trying to get the horse claimed. They might be trying to get the horse claimed, but the purse race for 16,000 is $51,000 in here. So this is a horse making a class drop for sure, but this is a very lucrative opportunity. If you get this horse claimed for 16,000, you win the purse, and the winner's share of this race is about 30 grand. This could be like a $45,000 payday on Antique Silver. And you look at the earnings for the year, 25,000. You can almost double the horse's year's earnings by getting claimed and win this race. So I think Antique Silver is not in here to just get claimed and be sold, but also in with a real chance to win. 10, 7, 5, and 3 are all horses I think have a chance here in race number 5 to start off this carryover pick 6. I've got him pick 10, 7, 5. And again, Kim's got the 7 on top. That's the second choice. Hurricane Debbie, the 5 is Scott's top choice. So as you see, 10, 7, 5, there's a lot of congruence there. In fact, if you look top 3, just noticing that now, we're all on some combination of 5, 7, and 10. Also, the 3, Samarita at 20-1, a horse who's run a decent race over the track that you can see in the past performances. But if you go back farther, a 2-time winner over this track. And Samarita likes to win races. 14-time winner from 41 starts. I know the recent form isn't great, but could you wake up coming back to Keeneland? This horse has been protected in some races and some optional claimers of late. I wouldn't be shocked if the 3 Samarita is worth including here. If you're looking to get outside the public and get a big price in the pick 6, Samarita at 20-1 is not a bad way to do it there in race number 5. Let's move on now to the 6th race, and the late pick 5 is going to start here, and I've got my second key play on the card here in race number 6. That's going to be number 3 in here, Struck at Midnight at 9-2 in the morning line. Joe Sharp's horses are running pretty good here early in the meet. This is a horse who is well-bred by Bolt Doro out of Midnight on Akani, and Midnight on Akani ran a nice race here at Keeneland in Allowance Company, going 6 furlongs back in her racing career. She liked the track here over at Keeneland and Allowance Company sprinting. This is a second-time starter in here, Struck at Midnight. Gets Jose Ortiz aboard. He doesn't ride in here for Kevin Rice, which I think is kind of interesting because he rides a lot for Kevin Rice. Presque Isle, there's family connections there. Of course, the wife of Jose Ortiz is Taylor Rice, the former jockey, and Taylor Ortiz. And there's a lot of family connection there that he typically rides the Rice horses, especially when they would show up in Kentucky like this. That Jose sticking with number 3, Struck at Midnight, I think is significant because Endless Glory ran a pretty darn good race in the career debut at Churchill with Jose Ortiz aboard. I like the 11 in here, definitely with the shot, but I went 3, 1, 4, 11. Maybe you're looking at going deeper in this race than I am, but I'm going to take the 3 over the 1, 4, and 11, and I'm going to stick my neck out here with the 3 getting the job done. Career debut, second, rallying from off the pace. In the race at Churchill or at Kentucky Downs back on September 7th, what I really like about Struck at Midnight, sure, a lot of horses close and run a decent race at Kentucky Downs. This horse rallied from 11th, 10 lengths back, to finish second, beaten 1. But the significant thing about it is if you go back and you look at the chart of that race, this September 7th race at Kentucky Downs, the horses who ran first, third, and fourth were running 1, 2, 3 all the way around the track. The only horse who closed any ground at all in this race was Struck at Midnight, who ran a really good second and was clear of the others behind him. I think that's a significant move. Typically, when the race shape doesn't work in your favor, if the horse is running 1, 2, 3, hold the run 1, 3, 4, the race shape was in their favor. All the race flow was going their way. You were the one that kind of swam upstream. did the dirty work, struck at midnight. I love that angle, and I think in this spot, one of my key plays on the card. So I'm going to take 3 over the 1-4-11 in the intra-race plays and try to hook up the exactas and the tries that way. But keying the 3 on top, struck at midnight, going to be a single for me, looking at potential pick 6 plays as well. As for the other handicappers in here, I've got the 3. Struck at midnight. Kim's also got the 3, the 4 Justice Edition, and the 11 Endless Glory. Other top picks in here for the other handicappers. Like I said, I've got 3 over the 1-4-11, and when you look across the way, there's some decent agreement amongst the 4-11 as the other horses to use in here with the 3. But give me the 3, struck at midnight, second key play on the card. And if we get that 9-2 morning line, I'll be very excited about that one, who beat the race flow last time out. 7th race next up on the program as we hit the final 4 on the card. It's the late pick 4 sequence. First level allowance here at 1 mile and 3/16. We go a little bit longer on the turf than what some of these horses are typically been running, 1 mile and 1/16 types. But you do get the horses from Kentucky Downs coming in here that have run farther on a lot of instances. 1 mile and 5/16, a rather common distance at Kentucky Downs. So the Kentucky Downs horses you always want to give a little consideration to in these particular spots. They should fit pretty well at 1 mile and 3/16 in a Lowndes Company. But number 7, El Jory, is going to be my pick, not coming from Kentucky Downs, rather coming from Ellis Park, and a dull effort in the turf there that day. But what I like about El Jory is the pedigree, by Medaglia d'Oro out of Up. And how many great 3-year-old fillies have been sired by Medaglia d'Oro over the years? Up was a really good Coolmore runner on the turf, going long. This is a very classy pedigree, and I don't have to worry about if this horse is going to fit at Keeneland. Last October, broke the maiden here in a maiden special, came back in the spring meet at 1 mile and 3/16, and ran a decent 3rd in a Lowndes Company that day. So we know El Jory likes to track, certainly not over-raced. Brendan Walsh gets kind of a first off the bench here for this one, who hasn't run since middle of August. Walsh's barn going really well here during opening week. He hasn't had a ton of starters here in week 2 yet, but give me El Jory at 15-1 in the morning line. I know the last race wasn't much, and I know the speed figures weren't very fast in the races at Keeneland, but I'm not necessarily worried about a speed figure at 1 mile and 3/16 on the turf. These races aren't dirt sprints, so I'll pass on a speed figure with this kind of horse if we're going to get a price, and it looks like we could here with the 7. Not a huge confident move in here, but I certainly like the price and the potential of this one back over the turf course here at Keeneland. The 11 Fleetingly, another one to consider in this spot. Chad Brown, he had another 2nd place finish with a horse coming from off the pace today. Chad Fleetingly and Flavian Pratt teaming up here. Pratt's only been aboard this horse once in the last 4 starts. Always consistent, always right at it. 7 times in a row in the trifecta, but only 1 win out of that group for this daughter at Justify. The Justifies do pretty well here on the turf at Keeneland. Not as good as they were when they first kind of started barreling out and rolling out. They've kind of cooled a little bit, but Justify on the turf certainly a good angle. And Alice Springs, the dam here, was an outstanding race mare. We talk about, Up being a really good mare for Coolmore. Alice Springs, similarly so over in Europe. Fleetingly certainly has plenty of classy pedigree. And the farther they go, the more I like pedigree. 1 mile and 3/16 on the turf. I like to see some class show through. So I think I have 2 of the best pedigrees in the field when I go 7-11 in this particular spot. The 6 Haystack is 8-1 in the morning line. It's run well here at Keeneland. This horse gets to stretch back out. The distances have been shorter, but at 1 mile and 3/8 at Saratoga, ran pretty decently back in July of 24. Has run this trip once in the career and ran 2nd in that. So Haystack's been going shorter lately, but has run well at Keeneland. 8-1 in the morning line. Fair enough price on that one. 7, 11, and 6, really the 2 the horses that I'm leaning in mostly here. Number 2, Vino Arana, is the 2-1 morning line favorite here in race number 7. Hasn't run in over a year plus. First time back for Jack Sisterson. Certainly some good European form. 3rd in an Irish Group 3, 2 starts back. Broke the maiden at Saratoga then, once coming here stateside. So 2nd time in the U.S., but hasn't run in over a year. I can't take that kind of horse at 2-1 in the morning line with a trainer who doesn't do it that often. Only 12 starts, according to DRF, off this kind of layoff for Jack Sisterson. It's not necessarily his MO. I don't think that Vino Arana is a complete toss-out, but certainly I wouldn't play the horse at a shortish price. And at the morning line offering, I'm definitely not interested. And you see the other handicappers in here. Everybody's kind of taking a shot and tossing the 2-1 shot here in race number 7. 7, 11, 6 for me. I'll try to get by with those 3 in race number 7. Let's shift gears next, and we'll go to the 8th race on the card, mile and a 16th in race number 8. These are maiden special weights, 2-year-olds going long, and favorites have done really well in these races. Historically, 2-year-olds going long on the dirt, 26 out of 54 favorites have won in these fall meet races at Keeneland. We talked about the 2-year-olds on the turf going long being a boon for big long shots, but not on the dirt. The 2-year-old dirt races for the long distance maiden specials have been really effective spots here for horses that are pretty well backed. So I wouldn't go for any big bombs in this particular spot. The favorite in here, Vino Vici, the 11, is 5-2 in the morning line. It's Todd Pletcher. Pletcher's won 5 of these 2-year-old route maiden specials over the years, amongst the very best in the game here, bringing 2-year-olds going long at Keeneland. I would expect the 11 to be very effective in here. I thought there were a couple other horses that could go with the favorite in this particular spot, so I'm going to mix up trying to beat the 11, but certainly using the 11 in all the multi-race wagers, and that's not being defensive. The 11 is an absolute major contender in this race. I just think there's some other contenders in here as well that you might get a better price intra-race in betting. Number 9, Tiz Authority. Number 7, Beale Street Boy, are those two that I'm talking about. And that's what makes this a key play on the card for me, because Tiz Authority, the 9, is 6-1 in the morning line. The 7, Beale Street Boy, is 10-1. I respect the Pletcher and certainly could do it, but I think that we've got two good options in here with number 9, Tiz Authority. This is a horse who comes out of a really fast race at Churchill Downs. 109 and change, was up knocking heads. This is a horse out of a $30,000 stallion in Tiz the Law, who sold in the Ocala sale in April as a 2-year-old for $825,000. This is a horse they thought was going to be something put together right away. They're expecting a quick return on investment. Good debut at Churchill Downs in a very fast race in which the top horse kind of drew away from them late, but this horse didn't completely buckle and held for a decent 4th. It'll be a slower pace around 2 turns, and I think this horse has a ton of talent. You got Curlin on the dam side. I don't think stamina is going to be an issue. They went sprint fast in that race at Churchill. This will be route fast, and it'll be a little different. Give me the 9, Tiz Authority, near the front all the way here in race number 8. The 7, Beale Street Boy, also one to keep an eye on here. Street Sense, the sire, of course, Kentucky Derby and Travers winner. This horse has already gone 2 turns, a good 3rd at Churchill at a mile and a 16th back in September. Street Sense has sired 3 winners of these 2-year-old route maiden special weights in the fall. So as a sire, he's had some success with these kind of horses in the past. Blinkers on for the first time for trainer Ben Colebrook, and Colebrook's horses are all running pretty decent here at the meet. He's having like run off the screen type performances, but they're all showing up and running pretty well. So Beale Street Boy, also one to watch in here. 9, 7, 11, if you want to work another horse in. Number 8, Further Ado, for trainer Brad Cox, makes plenty of sense coming off those Saratoga races. And the top of the pedigree by Gun Runner tells you might want to go long, but the bottom of the pedigree out of a Sky Mesa mare, this horse may not stretch out around 2 turns as well as some expect. So I think Further Ado might be an underlay price. It's Cox, it's Ortiz, Irad. I think the horse might get overbet in here a little bit. 9, 7, 11 for me, and one of my key plays of the day. I'm really high on the 9 in here. So 9, 7 exacta boxes, 9, 11 exacta boxes. Tries with the 9, 7, 11 in the top 2 spots, and trying to mix in some other horses in terms of getting some prices in for 3rd or 4th if you're playing tries or supers. But I'm going to really be attacking here with number 9, Tiz Authority, in race number 8. 9th race on the card is the featured Sycamore Stakes, grade 2 company here, a mile and a half on the turf. Sycamore for a purse of $400,000. We have 17 races of the Sycamore in our database that were run over the turf. And if you go back and look, favorites are 4 for 17, so a little less than 25%. They underperformed there. The average winner in the Sycamore in those 17 years has been 6.7-1. That's more than 2 points higher than the normal 9-2 average that we're looking at. So this is a good betting race. You can get a horse in this race at a fair price. The average winner of this race is 7 1/4 lengths back after the first half mile. Deep closers have had their way. None of the 17 winners were the leader after the opening half mile. So don't look for a horse to try to take this race coast to coast. As far as where they prepped in those 17 races, they come from a lot of different places. Slight edge maybe to Kentucky Downs with 5 winners. New York has produced 3 of those, and then a whole lot of tracks have produced 1 or 2 winners. So no real edge or lean when it comes to where the horses come from to be successful in the Sycamore Stakes. One thing about it, though, of the 17 winners, 13 of them raced last time at a mile and an eighth or farther in their prep race. So a horse like Mercante trying to stretch out from a mile, a horse like Ohana Honor, the 10, trying to stretch out from a mile 70. Those are the two in this race that are trying to buck that trend. Again, 13 of the 17 winners prepped at least a mile and an eighth last time. I went with number 11 in here, Anglophile, who ran third in the Elkhorn Stakes back here in the spring meet. A bad effort last time at Kentucky Downs against the field that was awfully strong that day in the Grade 2 Kentucky Turf Cup, was sent away at 33-1. I think some of the previous races kind of fit a little bit better with the competition in this race, and Brian Lynch won this race last year via Kentucky Downs with a horse named Highway Robber. He'll try to come back this time via Kentucky Downs with Anglophile, who I think can bounce back a little bit here. And the turf course has a little more firmness to it than we're used to seeing here at Keeneland in the fall. And I think some of that Ellis Park summer form might play pretty well here. And we know the horse liked it in the Elkhorn back in the spring. So Anglophile is my pick here. Not a overwhelmingly confident play, 8-1 in the morning line. It's kind of one of those best horse at the best price scenarios, which is always what you're trying to look for. But sometimes the best horse in the race is, just simply a 2-1 shot that you think can't be beaten. Utah Beach is the morning line favorite at 7-2, very lukewarm morning line favorite. Won the Elkhorn in the spring when Anglophile finished third. Last year was third in this race in the Sycamore. 2 wins and a third in 3 starts. We know Utah Beach likes it here at Keeneland, and like Anglophile, ran a poor race last time out in the Turf Cup at Kentucky Downs. So if you can draw a line through that one and excuse Utah Beach, certainly is a player in here. But 8-1 on Anglophile, 7-2 on Utah Beach. I don't think they're that far apart from each other in ability. So therefore, I'm on the 8-1 over the horse who's 3.5-1. If they were both even on the tote board, I wouldn't have as strong as opinion of going for Anglophile over Utah Beach. So let the tote be your guide in this particular spot, as they say. The 9 Golden Eye is 5-1 for Kenny McPeak. This is another horse coming out of a race at Kentucky Downs, a 2 16th mile Gold Cup there, where he just defaulted to the lead because nobody wanted to go to the front in that spot. This horse will lay off the pace in this race in the Sycamore on Saturday. On Friday, I would expect. In the spring meet here, or in the fall meet last year, October 2024, behind a slow pace, was able to sit 7th and then steadily move up and win that race that day. Golden Eye a factor in here. But I got to be honest, I don't have a strong opinion of anybody in this particular spot. Safe trip home the 2. Top pick in here for Scott, coming off a win in the Colonial Turf Cup for Doug Cowens. Maybe you could look to that one. I think you want to get some coverage in this race. 11, 4, 9, 5, 10. I've got 5 of them that kind of interested me in this particular spot, and that doesn't include the 2 that Scott has in there. So this is a race to get some depth on, right? We liked His Authority earlier. We liked Struck at Midnight in races 6 and 8. In terms of a pick 6, I want coverage in this particular race. And the other reason, like I said, that you want coverage is the average winner of these races is almost 7-1 in the Sycamore Stakes, and favorites are hitting under 25%. So these are the kind of races that historically have demanded that you would want some coverage. I think you want to spread your wings unless you have a great opinion in race number 9, of which I do not. We wrap things up in the 10th race, Toyota Super High 5, 10,548 carryover in this one. I'm going to go to the 1 in here, Atara. This horse was claimed last time out by trainer Linda Rice. She claims a lot of horses in Kentucky to go run in New York, but the claiming rules a lot of times say you've got to run back in Kentucky, or you've got to wait and stay in jail, as they call it, before you ship a horse out of Kentucky to go run on another circuit. A lot of states and a lot of tracks have those jail rules on claiming, so that some barn from out of town doesn't come in, claim a bunch of horses, and then take that horse population and transfer it somewhere else. So Atara's running here because in a starter allowance company is protected in this race, can't be claimed out of this race. You would think that Linda Rice's main objective is to take this horse back to New York in another start, but will be eligible to do so after running back here at Keeneland. This is a good spot for this starter allowance horse. I don't think they're just giving the horse Atara a race because you get Flavian Pratt named to ride. If there was a no-name jockey on this horse off the claim, you'd say, okay, they're running in a protected starter allowance race. She really wants to take this horse back to New York, just kind of get the horse eligible by running here and then head out of town. You don't get Flavian Pratt book the ride at Keeneland just willy-nilly. So I think that means this horse is probably live and looks good on the form in this race. So I'm on the 1 in here, Atara, 3-1 in the morning line to wrap things up. As for the other plays in here and the other handicappers, number 7, Kentucky Smoke Show at 8-1 is a horse who's run, consistently well outside of one race at Oaklawn in the spring. But this horse, I think, will factor in here at a good price. Second start off the layoff, was off June to September, came back and ran a good second behind a runaway winner, was clear of the others in there. Chris Martin could have a big day. Of course, Hartman trains one of my best bets of the day earlier in Tis Authority in race number 8. So, look, if the Hartmans are running well and you see Tis Authority run really well, you feel a little bit better about Kentucky Smoke Show in this spot. When barns get hot, a lot of times they get hot in bunches with a bunch of their runners. Speaking of bunches, how about Brunch with Amy? The 8 in here, that's my third choice. Brunch with Amy coming off a claim for trainer Joe Sharp. This one claimed at Churchill last time, ran right behind Atara. You go from a good barn to a good barn. Peter Urton to Joe Sharp. Luis Saez sticks aboard. That's always a good sign. When a horse is claimed and the jockey who rode him last time rides him back from the new barn, that's usually something you want to follow, because that means the rider and the rider's agent wanted to be aboard this horse, even with the barn change. It's not just a business decision. It's I want to stick with this horse because he ran well last time and they want to ride him back. So I've got it 1, 7, and 8 here. I would look at using all three of those in this particular spot. Daisy Duke, the 3, 5, Bolt on the Rocks. Also horses picked on top by the other handicappers in this spot. Daisy Duke hasn't had a lot of wins of late, but always right in the mix. Saratoga Churchill Oaklawn takes the track with her. She's by Classic Empire, of course, who won major stakes races here over the track at Keeneland in his racing heyday. So Daisy Duke would be no surprise. But again, maybe a horse who's more bound to run second or third. And when you're looking for gambling in the pick 6, maybe you don't go with a horse like that so much. You want to find a horse more apt to get to the winner's circle. But look, none of these are world beaters. It's a starter allowance. They're essentially all these horses looking for their second or third career victories. Not a lot of win machines in this particular spot. Bolt on the Rocks, the 5, does have 3 wins, more than the rest of the field. Some of these are non-winners at 2 lifetime. I'll use the 1, 7, 8, though, and try to get by here in the final race of the Pick 6. So that's going to wrap things up for the podcast tonight. Thank you for joining us. I'll be back tomorrow around 11 o'clock, between 11 and noon, with an update for you on social media on X. Be sure to follow that at Keeneland Racing and at Horse Player Now, with updated picks and suggestions and any news that's breaking on this Friday card. Again, the big carryovers and after scratches and changes are announced. That gives me a chance to kind of recalibrate what we've handicapped in advance, what we talked about tonight, and what we continue to flush through as we get closer to post time for tomorrow, which will be 1 o'clock. You can also get my information sent to you, the updated information with Substack, free publishing software. It gets sent to your email inbox. Sign up for the free Substack, jeremyplonk.substack.com. Not only do you get Keeneland handicapping information, but I also send information about big stakes races and tracks around the country all year round, not just during the Keeneland meet. And, of course, there'll be Breeders' Cup, Triple Crown information and all that kind of stuff sent through this free Substack. Sign up, jeremyplonk.substack.com. I'll be back tomorrow night on Friday night, 8:30 Eastern, when we preview the Saturday card, which features the Grade 1 Queen Elizabeth II Challenge Cup. We'll handicap that for you tomorrow night. Have a great night, everybody.